Welcome to izzy'splace.com. Hey, there's a lot of stuff here. It might seem a little overwhelming. I'd recommend actually head over to the social media corner. You can actually take this free notebook with you.
Oh, thank you.
And take down any notes, any questions that you have, or anything that you find interesting or valuable here.
Very cool. I'm gonna take this pen.
That's actually not included.
Oh, okay.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's Claude, right?
Yeah, Claude.
Hey, last time you seemed to really like that customer delight email I sent you.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was super helpful. Thank you.
Cool. Well, today's special is a 20% discount on our membership program.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I was kind of hoping to get some chips.
Well, the only sides on the menu today are, well, we have Thai curry, or Thai curry. I'd recommend the Thai curry, actually.
You know what? I think I'm gonna take the Thai curry.
Awesome. Hey, Claude, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to see you again.
Hey, today we have this special, it's a loyal member discount on our special mastermind, only $9.97.
Okay.
It also comes with the exclusive app for Google Glass.
Google Glass?
It's gonna be big.
Okay. Is there anything else I get with it, or is that, that's kind of spendy.
It also comes with this pen.
I'm in.
Awesome. Welcome aboard.
Oh man, those intros are always fun to do. But look, the reality is, when people first come to our websites, we should assume that they're cold. By cold, it means that they just aren't very familiar with our brand. They've come to our website because they did a search on the web, and that search led them to a piece of content. For them, their focus was the content, not on the website that provided the content. As we warm people up to our brand, they get more familiar with us. And as people are warmer, they're far more inclined to want to do business with us. And they're far more inclined to trust the recommendations that we're going to make. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the email list that we started creating in our video last week. If you haven't watched that, I invite you to go watch that. You absolutely should, and probably even before you watch this video. So maybe go watch it now, but come back to this one because this is gonna be really good information for you. Now that we have started generating an email list, we need to keep that list warm. We have to actually be active with the emails we send, but we need to send the right emails so that the people who are receiving those emails, one, actually read them, don't delete them, or don't leave our email list unless they're the wrong type of customer, which is okay. But also so that number two, they're warm and familiar with our brand. They're more likely to come back to our website for additional information. They're more likely to trust the content that we write. And if and when the time comes that we want to promote something, either our own product or an affiliate product, those are the type of people that are going to be in the best position to trust your recommendation and take part in the promotion. The way to make the best use of that email list is going to be to make sure we're sending people the emails that are most appropriate for their situation. One great way to do that is to sort of put our customers on a spectrum from least aware to most aware. And I'm talking about awareness of, again, our brand, our website, who we are. If it's a customer that's brand new that just signed up for the email list, they're on the least aware end of the spectrum. If it's somebody who has received several emails from us and continues to be subscribed and even reads a good percentage of those emails, they're gonna be somewhere in the middle to the warm side. And then there are gonna be those people who are your customers. They're your customers either because they've purchased a product that you promoted to them, or they have purchased a product that you recommended to them, even if it wasn't from you. People who trust your recommendations, especially if they've trusted multiple of your recommendations, I'm going to classify as your customers, and they're on the very aware or the most aware end of this spectrum. So then what do we need to be able to actually segment these customers? Tags. Lots of tags. There are a lot of aspects of how to do this that are going to depend a ton upon your specific situation. But at a high level, what we need to do is we need to use emails that we send, as well as the way that we ask people to interact with us in those emails, as well as their activity on our website, to apply tags to these people using our email list. This is actually pretty advanced technique, so don't worry about it too much right now. But the more that we start using our email list, the more that we're going to be able to segment that list into different groups of people. Now, I talked about the spectrum from least aware to most aware, but there are other ways that we want to segment them too that are going to be easier to do at the very beginning. And that is to create multiple lists based upon the content they were recommended from. I used the example last week of cookforfolks.com. On Cook for Folks, we have a lot of content about quantities of food to prepare, and we have content about specific types of foods that are really common at holiday gatherings. We also have other types of food that are maybe more common at summertime cookouts. Well, that content about foods that are really common in the summertime for these cookouts, the people who are coming to that content might not quite be the same group of people who are the ones reading content about foods for major holiday gatherings. There are people that do one, there are people that do the other, and then there are some that do both. So what if I had a different lead magnet for those two different types of content? And if I produce more content on outdoor cooking, which is something we're going to be doing in the future, then that's the lead magnet that I would want to push to those people. You can have people who sign up for one, the other, or both. And based upon where they signed up in the email tool, we'll be able to tag them appropriately. So when I send out newsletters or other cool tips related to holiday gatherings, it goes to this group. When I send out information and really cool tips and newsletters about summertime and the foods and stuff and maybe trends that are going on today, it's gonna go out to this group. And anybody that signed up for both, they're gonna receive more emails from us, but they're gonna be emails that are highly relevant to them. Let's talk about how to send the right emails to people to help either keep them warm or even warm up a cold contact who just signed up to receive a lead magnet. There are certain emails that are gonna be really valuable to send out to all of these people to help make that happen. The first email that most people should receive is gonna be a welcome email. This is gonna be an email that's gonna be the same today, tomorrow, in a month, in 2 months probably. It's an email that they should be able to receive automatically when they first sign up for your email list. The welcome email needs to contain a few components. First of all, it needs to contain the lead magnet that you promised them. Every email you send needs to come with some sort of unique value, something that goes above and beyond, first of all, what people generally receive from emails, but also it needs to go kind of above and beyond what they're gonna get just by perusing your website. It needs to be something specific, something targeted, and something valuable. The lead magnet in particular should be immediately valuable for the user. And it's the thing that they're expecting because it's the thing that's why they signed up for the newsletter in the first place. The next thing I want to do in that welcome email is I want to set expectations. I want to let them know how often they're going to hear from me in an email, at least approximately. If you send out about an email a week, that'd be great to let them know right off the bat. If you're only going to email them about once a month, that would also be great to know. If you have a 5 email drip sequence where they're going to hear from you every day for 5 days, but after that, it's going to become more, on a weekly or monthly basis, also let them know that. That way they know exactly what to expect and they're going to be less likely to get annoyed and unsubscribe. If they know what to expect, it's going to go a lot better for you. The next thing that every email should have is a call to action. In the welcome email, there are a couple of call to actions that I'd recommend. Probably choose one or the other. In most situations, I'm not going to invite people to do multiple things. It becomes confusing. Make it very simple for them, and then in the next email, invite them to do the other thing that you want to invite them to do. Probably one of the most valuable things that you could invite them to do with the first email is to whitelist the email address. Email providers are getting smarter and smarter all the time, and they often recognize these IP addresses from the major email list providers. All of them, really. I mean, they've gotten to where they start to recognize these IP addresses in large part because most of them are shared. And so the IP address that sends your emails is probably sending emails for a lot of other email lists as well. And some of those get marked as spam, even if they're good emails. And so we're seeing providers like Gmail who take all of those emails and put them into the promotions tab, which is fine, but they just don't get quite as much visibility there. We're also seeing other email providers who are simply taking those emails and putting them straight into spam. So one of the best things you can do is in that first email, it's an email that they're expecting. And so they're more likely to go looking for it than future emails. In that email, ask them to whitelist your email address. Give them specific instructions on how to do that. They can add your email address as a contact. Mark the email as safe. It depends a little bit on their email provider, what options they have, but they should mark your email as safe to receive so that it makes sure that it shows up in their inbox every single time. Give them a reason to want to whitelist it. Let them know we're never going to send you spam. It's always going to be really helpful information. If you want to receive really cool stuff from us like this lead magnet, you're going to want to make sure you don't miss it. Another good call to action that maybe could go in this first email, but probably should go in at least the welcome email sequence. I would recommend at this point inviting people to follow you on whatever social media platforms that you're on. If you have a YouTube channel, give them a link to the YouTube channel and invite them to subscribe. If you have a Facebook page or group, if you have an Instagram, if you have a Twitter, invite them to follow you so that they can make sure they're not missing out on the things that are happening with your business as well as kind of in your industry. And you can let them know, hey, when I share a newsletter here, just to make sure you don't miss out on that, if something happens with the email, just make sure you're following us on social media so you don't miss out on those awesome updates. That's the welcome email and series. If you're going to have a series of emails, again, each one needs to contain something really helpful and really useful. We've been really successful in the past with a drip campaign that contained multiple case studies of successful websites where we told a story of what happened with it, some that were successes and some that were failures, and what we learned from those. And then we're able to guide people toward Project 24, or we're able to help people know how they can better follow us in the future so they make sure that they get more and more and more awesome, valuable information. I would put a lot of time and effort into that welcome sequence because these are the emails that set the stage for the whole rest of your interaction with this customer. If that goes well with them, then they're probably going to read the other emails that you send them over time. If those emails annoy them, if they're not very good, they're probably not going to continue opening your emails, and they'll probably just unsubscribe. Or worse, they'll mark it as spam, making it so that the emails you send in the future are more likely to be automatically marked as spam. The next kind of email that is probably going to be the most common, and probably one of the easiest ones to generate, is what we'll call the newsletter. The newsletter needs to be really helpful to the reader. It doesn't do any good to just send them a list of the recent articles that were published on your website. If they were interested in that, they would probably just go to your website. And that's the kind of email that's probably just going to get annoying and that people are going to stop looking at because it doesn't add additional value. In some industries where updates and news are going to be really valuable to know at the time that they happen, that would be a great thing to include in the newsletter. Likewise, it can be really helpful to share updates and announcements for your business as it fits with the industry, or if you have something of unique value going on within your business that they would want to know about right now. We have sometimes shared news about different sales going on with different software products that are commonly used in our industry. Sometimes they're products that we're an affiliate for, and sometimes they're not. It's not intended to be a sales push. It's always intended to be more of a helpful announcement that there's a really cool sale going on, and if this is a product you're looking at, it's a good opportunity to save some money. We also like to send out timely tips and timely resources if there is anything particularly timely, or at very least to send out tips and resources. Using Cook for Folks as an example, if my lead magnet were to be something like I talked about, like a guide for planning a holiday get-together, and then around Thanksgiving time, the newsletter had specific tips for planning Thanksgiving dinners, or specific ideas of particular foods and even specific recipes that I could link to that would help them in preparing for their Thanksgiving dinner. Later in December, I might send out a newsletter that had some similar tips and resources and ideas that are related to the December holidays. Those are tips and resources, but they're also very timely, and so they're going to be of particular value to the reader above and beyond just a generic set of tips that I happen to be sending out in this month's email. Another thing we love to include in newsletter emails is highlights. If there's anything to highlight in your industry, if there's a particular customer, like in our case, we have a membership, Project 24, and we have a newsletter for Project 24 members, and in it, we often like to highlight member successes. When we have permission, we'll give them a shout out, and it's their specific name and information, or if they want to highlight their website or their YouTube channel, we'll do that for them. But oftentimes we'll also highlight the successes of members in a more anonymous fashion. We'll say this week or this month, X number of people hit these different milestones. We have 3 new members that just hit the full-time income milestone. Those kinds of highlights can be particularly nice to see and very encouraging. You can see how the kinds of things that you would include in a specific newsletter would vary a lot based upon who the readers are, based upon what the industry, what the niche, the topic of the website is, as well as who this audience is. I mentioned my newsletter for Project 24 members. That is a list of people who are very warm to hot because they're actual customers. Whereas on an email list where I'm dealing with brand new signups, I'm going to be dealing with much more cold contacts, and so the kind of newsletter I'm going to send is going to be a little bit different. Now, I have spent a lot of time here talking about just 2 different types of emails, the welcome email /sequence and the newsletter. But actually there are a lot more email types that I'd love to tell you about. Let me give you kind of a list here of some that we just came up with that we like to use. There's the re-engagement email. This is an email that encourages people who have maybe not been engaging. So maybe this is something where somebody gets a tag associated with them when they haven't opened the last several emails. And so this is an email with a specific subject line that encourages them really to open this one, and it invites them to re-engage with the brand. There's the email preference email. This is one where we maybe give people some different choices of the kind of content that we have or the topics that we're covering, and we allow people to select the ones that are the most interesting to them. There's the case study or the data gathering email. There is the customer delight email, I like that one. And then of course, there's the promotional or launch sequence email, or email sequence rather, where we're either promoting a product or even when we're launching a product, which is just a special type of promotion. I want to be able to share information with you about each of those, but this video is already getting kind of long, and so I want to ask you in the comments below, which one of those different types of emails would you like me to cover in more detail next, in the next video that I make about emails as soon as I possibly can. Here are a few other really valuable tips for making sure that the emails you write are as effective as possible. The first one, match the voice that you use in your email to the other content that you write. If you use a pretty informal and friendly tone in your blog, you should use that kind of tone in your emails. If you have a very casual and even comedic tone, use that in your emails. Don't shift it dramatically. The brand needs to be the same so that people feel comfortable interacting with you. The second one I've alluded to, but that is to give them something really valuable first and foremost. That has got to be the main purpose of the email. The email itself should generally be fairly short. People don't like to read through super long emails almost ever. And so if you're going to have a longer email, people need to see right up front why it's worthwhile for them to stick around and read the whole thing. And this leads to the second point. If you're going to do any sort of promotion or pitch or even a call to action, which you should do in every email, make sure that it's the shorter piece of content and that the valuable information, the main thing, the reason they wanted to open the email in the first place, that is the focus of the email and makes up the majority of the content. If they have to do a lot of scrolling, they're probably going to bounce, just like they do in really long blog posts. I already alluded to this too, but always invite people to do something. There should be some call to action in every email you send out. Even if that call to action is to just go check out a specific piece of content on your website that has more information about whatever cool, valuable thing that you sent them in the email. Along the lines of keeping your emails short, keep the formatting fairly basic too. The more we design up our emails to look super cool, the more they tend to look kind of corporate and really like over-planned and stuff. It feels less personal when we make them really, really designed. Now, if you have a really formal niche, you're in a very YMYL situation, you're a doctor or something, you might want your emails to look really professional. But for most of us, we don't necessarily want our emails to look too professional. We want them to feel like an interaction that they would have with another human being that they enjoy talking to. Keep it simple. And then when it comes to the subject line of your emails, treat the subject line in a similar way that you would treat a headline for your blog. It should be reasonably descriptive of what the content in the email is, but it should also be really interesting. People get a lot of emails, and if the subject line isn't interesting and doesn't stand out, the likelihood that they're going to read it goes down dramatically. Now, I've covered a ton of this video. It's already too long. So again, I want you to tell me what to make next as we talk about email marketing, but also I have a ton more awesome ideas that I want to share with you about how to optimize our blogs and how to get more traffic, how to make more money from them, how to build our online internet businesses to be extremely successful that I can't wait to share with you. But again, these videos get so long because I just love teaching and I love hanging out with you. So I hope you'll join me again next time. We'll see you there.